question is, where is the first handout? First day's handout. Is it still here?
No.
This one?
Yeah. You all have that?
I have that one.
Mine.
Why?
One that I took.
But there was
Everybody should have that so that we can use that.
I did print out these.
No, yeah, that is okay, but the first day's handout,
With the prayers.
yes. Where are they?
Oh, those I don't know, Swamiji. Were there extras?
I think
Yeah.
you had given your copy
That's
to,
right, I think they went
of the
home.
room. There were not enough going around.
10 copies I had made. Are you sure it's not somewhere where you keep here?
So many G.
No.
No.
Unless,
Then what's the point of printing the handouts?
Because I have one.
Good for you.
Here's one happy Jiva.
Surrender has.
Way to go.
But how did you do your homework without them?
Way to go.
Harinder has. Shivani, was Shivani here?
Yes, Shivani has.
has.
And I gave my handout to someone, I don't remember who.
I think that
Yeah.
turned out not to be 10 handouts as well, Swamiji, I seem to
Is that
remember,
right?
Because you said that there was 10 and then you said, oh no, perhaps I didn't do 10.
No, first because we were handing out more pages, so that's why they were actually 10.
Oh, there was?
Yes,
Well,
yes.
we were sharing.
Yeah, everybody was sharing.
The Ramagiri didn't get a
Kate was here.
Yeah.
Kate was sharing with me.
Okay.
And then
I shared with Sonia.
Okay.
Shanti shared with Ramagiri. Harinder shared with Ramagiri.
Shin might have been here on that day, or had she
No.
gone?
No.
Anyway, they're not.
They're not
I mean, the
here.
top and the bottom of the list.
We are going to wing it because I have no idea what was in them. I only was there.
Would you like to see? Would you like this? So many G?
That was one handout. No, keep it now.
No,
Yeah, keep it now.
it's all right.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm
Here.
in the land of,
I
Yeah.
have Ashtajari, which has all.
What?
I have
Ashta, no, this one I wanted because I was going to go over the different kinds of sutras. But here you can have the prayer. I'll take it back again. Here, you can have the prayer. These I will keep and give it back to you. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yenaksharasamamnayam Adhigamya Maheshwarat Kritsnam Vyakaranam Proktam Tasmai Paninaye Namaha Yena dhauta giraf pumsam Yena dhauta giraf pumsam Vimalai shabdavaribhihi Tamaschagnanajam bhinnam Tasmai paninaye namaha Vakyakaram vararuchim Bhashyakaram patanjalim Paninim sutrakarancha Pranatosmi munitrayam Om Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। ऐ ऋल् ऋक् ए ॐ ऐ औच् लन् no is that right? No, that's not right. Hayavarat लन् यमगणनं झभं घढधश् जबगडदश् खफ छठ थ चटतौ कपै शशसर हल् इति माहेश्वराणि सूत्राणि। Now, if we look at what we just chanted, these are what are they called? Pratyaharas, correct? And just to revise what we went over last time, these Maheshwarani Sutrani are freebies given by Lord Maheshwara, 14 freebies that Panini got because of his devotion. And these Pratyaharas, it's a technical term for a special set of syllables. And what is the definition of Pratyahara also is defined in the Ashtadhyayi, which is the 8-chaptered work of Paninian grammar. And what is that? It is how is the definition? That is in book 1, subchapter 3, sutra number 87. And what is that? Adihi antyena ita saha saha ita. And it's very interesting. I mean, we'll be later, unpacking the sutra completely, not this one, but later we'll be doing that, if time permits today. But here, he talks about what constitutes a pratyahara, what is correct, what is not correct, and how it should be done. So, what does a pratyahara, this specialized group of syllables, which is the building blocks of this meta language, to give a look into the grammar, what does it include and what does it not include? This is pratyahara. And the pratyahara is defined as adihi, that which is the beginning letter, antyena saha, along with the end letter, ita saha apicha, and the ith letter constitutes the pratyahara. That means what? You cannot begin with an ith letter. And also you cannot have ith letter in the middle, except if you are eliding through it and making a long pratyahara to include a number like ach. If you say ach, there will be a few ith letters in the middle, and then so that is okay. But then you don't begin with a ith letter. You don't go from ith letter to ith letter, and that doesn't constitute a pratyahara either. So then it includes itself, the ith letter, it includes the beginning and the end and the range therein. You see why the beginning and the end? It's not just the beginning, like Hayavarat. If you say hut, there is no sutra which uses the aphorism hut, the pratyahara hut. But if supposing it were to use hut, Hayavarat, it would be constitutional according to the Paninian rules. But you cannot say it just includes ha and ta. Adihi antya. That's why the saha is given. And in Kashika Vritti, one of the, because this is not everyone's bread and butter. You need a particular kind of a mindset to spend your life doing this. Yeah, like Professor George Cardona. What a mind, my God, I have listened to some of his lectures. It's just, he's brilliant. I mean, he's able to see certain patterns. The mind has to be like a computer. But, what we need to remember is to just be alert where Panini is concerned, and that alertness itself is a big blessing, because then we won't miss, because if we have to look at the sutra, Adihi Antyena Saha, so meaning along with the it letter, along with the beginning letter and the end letter and the it letter at the end constitutes a pratyahara. And what does it refer to? It refers to the range from the beginning to an end. That is the range that it refers to, and that is what we must not forget. And so if we say hut, it's not just her and ta, correct? It's all the semi vowels, ya, ra, la, va, no, except la, I think, yeah, because he wants to have certain sutras without the la, so he has deliberately omitted the la, ha, ya, va, ra. And so if you say hut, it is semi vowels and ha excluding la. But then you cannot say it's just ha and ra. No, it's the whole range of the letters. And so when you understand this more and more, something starts to happen, because you don't know whether, without the knowledge of the language you cannot have this, and without this you cannot have the language. And so the two, which came first? It's a mind-boggling thing. A simple rearrangement of the Sanskrit alphabet has yielded a big treasure trove of pratyaharas, with which you can make rules applying to all words ending in those particular, or beginning with those particular kind of a thing, And we'll come back to this presently, looking at the pratyaharas, the homework, and seeing what are the possibilities. And out of the 281, how many Panini actually uses. George Cardona has done a study of that, and I will tell you all about that. But first I think we should step back and look at the general construction of the Sanskrit language, and then come back to Panini and see the language. What we'll do is look at the language from the standpoint of Panini, like what he sees when he looks at the language, And so let us just sort of map out this language to see what are its uniquenesses, what does it have that is worth, looking at, worth looking into deeply, worth studying in fact. And so the first thing we have to see is that it is 100% based on human voice acoustics, not animal voice, human voice, correct? Because if you tell a cat, you tell a cat to say something, what will it say? Meh, that's all it can say, And in fact, somebody has studied cat language. In fact, they even appear in some CDs called Meow Mix. There is one CD, holiday CD, of a lot of cats singing Jingle Bell. and then, and then the person who recorded them, or somebody, one of their friends, did a survey on the cat vocabulary. So it has makara, it has rakara when it growls, it has na also, or nya, something like that. And so like this, and ha when they hiss. So this is the range of the vocabulary, correct? Yeah. So they have, maybe a semi-vowel, sometimes ya and oo and oh, so a few vowels, a couple of semi-vowels. They are heavy on the ma and the nasals and with a hint of ra. You see how, compared to the human voice acoustics, this just represents a small little minuscule of the human voice acoustics. It is amazing. So the only qualifications for learning Sanskrit is to be a human being. Do you qualify? Yeah, don't take long to say yes, because then we'll start to have other doubts. And so, yes, if you're a human being, you qualify. And it's very simple. That's why the whole alphabet, is based on this. You open your mouth, what comes out? That's the first letter. You close your mouth and make a sound. That's the last consonant. And then a few other things are there. Some sibilants and all that. So therefore, it is based on the human voice acoustics also in a very important way, in the sense that there is only a particular way of opening the mouth and a particular asya and sthana, a place for articulating the letters. You cannot articulate it in any other place and be happy. You may be happy, the teacher will not be happy. Any Sanskrit teacher will say, this is not the correct way to pronounce, So the pronunciation, because it is 100% phonetic, does not leave anything to, to desire. 100% phonetic, like I said last time, what you see is what you pronounce. And then based again on the human voice acoustics, the alphabets, both the swaras and the vyanjanani, swara vyanjanani, swara means vowels, vyanjana means, if swara means vowels, vyanjana means consonants. See how simple Sanskrit is? So, so the swara vyanjanani, the swaras and the vyanjanas are again based on you, on your voice, really. And each thing has a short and a long in the vowels. And actually there are three lengths. Short, long, extra long. Like when you go to buy socks or something, Some of the socks are only ankle length, and then you have knee length, and then when in cold weather you have, full leggings. So like this, hrasva, short, dirgha, long, and then what? Extra long, pluta. So each one is one matra. Matra, what is one matra? Does matra matter? Yes. Matra matters. So how do you know what is one matra? Can you say oo? Oo? Oo. How long did it take to say oo? One matra long. Oh, this is a very strange way of reckoning matra. Why oo? Because Panini said so. Ukalaha hrasva dirgha plutaha. There is one sutra. So you say oo. How long did it take? One matra. Now double that. Ooh. How many matras is that? Two matras. So the length of the oo is the length of the matras. And then you say pluta, the third one. You make it 3. Say, now you do it on your own. Ooh. Yeah. And it's rarely used. It's only used to call somebody, Guru. Vocative. Rama. Because somehow you have to carry the sound. Let's say Rama is in the next room, and also is listening to, Rama is a teenager and Rama is listening to heavy metal music. So you have to have pluta sound to summon Rama. Local Rama, yeah. And so, hrasva, dirgha, pluta. Each vowel, there are all these vowels based again on the human voice, and I will come to that shortly. And all these vowels have, 3 lengths. Hrasva, dirgha, pluta. Short, long, little longer. And the longest one is only used to question something or to call somebody. Those are the only, examples that we know, rarely used. And in the Taittiriya we see this, Aho vidvan amul lokam pretya kaschana gacchati. No, that is a different one. Yeah, that's the next one. Aho vidvan amul lokam pretya kaschit samashnuta. You see? That oo has nothing to do with this oo, okay? That's a different meaning there. But you see here the student is asking the question. After giving up this body, the person of knowledge, where does the person go? Is there still traveling through karma and gaining many bodies? The point is not to answer the question now, okay? The point is just to illustrate what? Yeah, Hrasva Dirgha Pluta. And if you cannot stand what the answer is, briefly, the person doesn't travel. The same Upanishad will tell. Because the person knows oneself, there is no traveling, there is no more taking on any bodies. Natasya pranaha utkramanti. So anyhow, so you see the question and the long matra. And then when you say Om, how many matras? You know, if 1 and 2 are wrong, then what will be the next answer? Huh? 3. Correct. So that's one of the reasons. You cannot elongate Om more than 3 matras. Om. And maybe in Samaveda, because it's all musical, they may do it longer there. And you know, this is something which is it is sacrilege to elongate Om or pronounce it any other way. You cannot pronounce it sideways by saying Aum. That's not the way your jaw is supposed to move. You will get TMJ. That's not how to do that. Rhinoceros moves the jaw like that. Animals move the jaw like that. Hippopotamus moves the jaw like that. Human beings' jaws only go up and down. That is the primary motion. So, Om, 3 matras, Pluta. Yeah. So then when you say A, the first vowel, how many versions does it have? Hello, just now I said 3. Yes, 3 versions. Short, long, extra long. So when I say A, how many versions are there? 3. So what is the second version called? Ah. The first level of elongation with 2 matras, it is just the A with an attitude. That's all. It's A having an attitude. That's all it is. And then if you make it a little longer, after that it becomes music. It's no longer language. Okay? And then what is the next vowel? E. That is counted already. Yeah. Then E. E. 1 matra. Then E. E. After that you cannot do. You'll start sounding funny. Same thing with oo. 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 Finished. R. 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 There is no, the R has only 1 version. And then what? This much, they have 3 versions. These are what is called the simple basic sounds that can come out from the 4 asyas and sthanas that are there. What are the 4, places?
Guttural.
Guttural. And then palatal, E, because you have to change the face. E, you have to go like that. E, yeah, second. And then Woo. Correct? Lips, R, cerebral. So these are the 4 places from which the simple vowels, these are the only places where things are articulated. These are the primary places of articulation. And after that what happens? There is permutations, combinations, that's all. Then you have A, which is a throat letter. Kanthya. I have trouble calling it guttural because can't think of the word guttural without thinking of gutter. So, Kanthya, throat, Kantha. And so the throat letter, A. And then what's the next letter? Palatal letter. What is the first palatal letter? Vowels.
Oh, vowel.
Vowels. In the vowels, what is the first palatal letter in the vowels? We haven't gone yet to consonants, yeah. E. E. So then the next set of vowels have to do with combining the A and the E. I. A is throat, E is palate, and so their baby, when the throat and the palate produce a sound together, their baby has to be guttural and palatal combined. And what is that sound? A. A. You see that? When you say A, you are using the palate, you are using the throat as well. A. Any questions? Okay. Yeah. So, A plus E, that, see, you see, the human voice itself has given birth to the next vowels and consonants, the next sound. So, the next sound is what? A. Then you go back to A, which is the primary sound, I said, as soon as you open your mouth. A plus A, what happens? I, ayyo, I. You see? Can you go further from I? You can just say I, ayyo, that's all. You cannot go. The human voice, I mean, maybe there is Yaksha's voice or Gandharva's voice that can make I into something else. But that is the ultimate reach of the human voice, and that is the ultimate reach of the diphthong. You cannot go further than that. Try it. Take all night. Try it. You know? And then same thing. Oo. Then go back and do A plus oo. O. Because oo is again a labial letter. So the throat and the labial has to again produce a sound. When the two mix together, it has to produce a sound that is a product of both of them. It should have the DNA of both of them. And the only one sound, O. A plus O, or A, but doesn't matter, plus O. Next level, ow, 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 ow. Can you go beyond ow? Yeah, exactly. You sound like Zeppo and not like human being. That's what it is. See, the human voice is that much only. And this constitutes the vowel. So beautiful. It's all dependent on the I. Just like Atma. Everything comes back to the I. There is nothing other than the I. Not the letter I. Okay? I, as in the capital I. Then the same thing, you map the consonants. Based on the asya and the sthana, the place of articulation, you mapped the consonants based on the place of articulation. So, which was the first vowel? Throat, coming from the throat. So, what is the first consonant that comes from the throat? Yeah, so, and note that a consonant, the definition of the consonant Sanskrit wise is that which cannot be enunciated without the help of a vowel. That is the definition of a consonant. Write it down. Because when you say ka, you just said ka, which is the first vowel I asked, you said ka. And what is ka? You are taking the help of a. No, ik. But you have to take the help of ik in the beginning. You have to put a e in the beginning or an a or something. Ka, ka, ki, ku, ku. Cuckoo, you should not say, but ke, kai, ko, kau. This is the whole range. That means when you say ka, right, already you are bringing in a. There is no pure consonant except occurring at the end of a word, because you take the help of the vowel before, or a half consonant, a conjunct consonant occurring in the middle or the beginning of the word. Like prakashah, pa, half pa plus ra, but then there is a a there, it helps. Otherwise, the consonant is a useless thing as far as Sanskrit is concerned. Try saying ka without the there. You know, it's like everyone will sound like a gaggle, you know, not of geese, but everybody is gagging. That's what it will be like. So, the first consonant, the first class of consonants are all guttural, throat related. And different sounds coming out of the throat have been mapped. Aspirated and non-aspirated. Ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. So if you look at this again map carefully, what do you see? You see the first letter, ka, an aspirated version of it. And then you have the soft letter, ga, and an aspirated version of it, and a nasal. The first two are what are called hard consonants, and the other three are soft consonants, and even in that there is aspirate and non-aspirate. Then cha. Cha is what? Palatal. Cha, cha, ja, jha, nya. Ta. Ta, tha, da, dha, na. Ta, tha, da, dha, na. Pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. And then there are certain things that sadly stand out. They don't belong to many groups. So you make a separate group. Ya, ra, la, va. And they are neither vowels nor consonants. Because when you say ya, can you hear the distinct E sound in it? Ya. Ya. It's connected to E, correct? So, but it's not a vowel because it has a consonant sound of the ya. So, ya, there is E there, correct? And say va, especially in the Indian way, you know, va, which is neither W sound nor V sound, something in the bang in the middle. Va. So when you say va, do you feel a hint of a oo? Just say yes, come on.
Yes.
Va. See, you have to make the sound va. You have to make the oo sound before making the va sound. And so those two have a relationship, meaning the va has a connection to oo, and this is a very useful knowledge later on, much as you may shake your head now, and it is very useful knowledge later on that ya and e are very much distant cousins, as are va and oo, because then Panini will introduce, or he will talk about, a very interesting swapping procedure, you know. It's like when you send your children for a sleepover to somebody else's house. Yeah. So the E becomes ya becomes E both ways. U becomes va, and then it's called samprasarana, and then there is a reverse samprasarana, as though that was not good enough. And so like vach becomes uktam by this rule, by this particular mechanism. Do you see the distant cousins? They are related. The va becomes u in past, passive and certain other formations. You know? And ishtihi, which means fire rituals, becomes yaj. You see, the yaj and ij, so there is some kind of a connection. Yeah. So this is good to know. What is the map in terms of the human body and the human tongue and the place of articulation is. So yara la va, and the la is a distant cousin of the dental ta. Yeah, they are related. You know, many times removed, but related. Ta and la are related. How do we know? There is a sutra, Tor Li. You know, wherever the ta is there, replace it with la if it is followed by a la. You know, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. You know, the na has become la there. The dental has become the dental, the na has been replaced by la. And like this, there are other examples where certain letters are replaced by lakara. So see, these things are very important. That's why the place of articulation can never be forgotten. That has to be internalized, especially when we begin Paninian study, because otherwise we are left hanging about why this is there, we will not understand. And then how this became that, we will not understand. We will be feeling lost. Okay? And so to help us understand this and gain this knowledge, there is a sutra attributed to Panini, but we think it was there before him as well. And so we are going to chant that, and I am going to explain each line. Okay? So just repeat after me today's notes, please. Akuha visarjaniyanam kanthah akuha visarjaniyanam kanthah ichuyashanam taluhu. Yeah, so these two we'll see first. Now, if we were to make a map of all the guttural letters, what all would they include? Can we count them now, please?
Well, 5.
Ka, kha, ga, gha, nga, but let's not forget the vowels. There are throat-based vowels, yeah. So, let us count. A, and then ka, kha, ga, gha. No, we are only counting throat. Yeah, we are just making a map of all the throat, guttural letters in the whole thing. So let us look. Okay, a, and then ka, kha, ga, gha, the whole kavarga, the group of ka, and then ha, and then visarga, which also has a ha sound, which comes from the throat. This is so easy. So you look at the whole map, and then you see that the place of articulation of ha is possible for the following sounds: a, including a, and ku. Here look at the word ku. Ku stands for all the 5 consonants in the ka group. When you say ku, tu, etc., it means all of them, the whole class of letters coming under the ka sounds. Ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. Ku stands for that. So a stands for a as well here. A, ku means the whole ka class, and then ha. You see? Do you see the ha there? Mm-hmm. And visarjaniya means the colon, not the body part, okay? Yeah. The 2 dots which happens after the like ramaha, kantaha, like that. So that is also a throat sound, and so this akuha visarjaniyanam kantaha, this is one way of remembering all the sounds that come from the throat. This is a pre-Paninian sutra, that's what I was told. And then let us now map all the letters coming out of the palate. What are they? E, yeah.
And then
Cha, cha, ja, jha, ya, represented by chu. Yes. And then ya
and
sh, the palatal sh. This is what is the gamut of palatal letters. Ichu, yasha, nam. Forget the nam. Nam means all of them together. For those, taluhu, ichu, yasha, nam, talu. And then next one, please repeat. Ritu, rashanam. Murdha. Murdha means palatal. So if we were to make a map of all the palatal letters, what would we get? R, ta tha da dha na, ra, and then sh. Yes, all cerebrals, murdha. Did I say palate? No, I meant to say cerebral. Yes. ऋटुरषाणां मूर्धा ऋटुरषाणां मूर्धा लृतुलसानां दन्ताः लृतुलसानां दन्ताः. Say lr without using the teeth? Not possible. Sa without, that's why babies lisp, because they don't have teeth or they don't know how to use it even if they do. Sa, we cannot do that without the teeth. Otherwise it will have an F sound. If there is no teeth, there's just air going in and out. You see? So the teeth are very important for speech. And so, sa, lra, ta tha da dha na, sa, la. All these are toothy words. Without the front two teeth, forget it. You cannot, you cannot articulate them. And then, upu, upadmaniyanam, oshthav. Oshthav means lips, the labial. So what are the labial sounds? Don't forget the vowels.
Sorry.
U, pa, bha, ba, bha, ma, u, pu. No, that is put in a complex box. It will come. We'll come to that. That is put in its own box of complex diphthongs. Not simple vowels and consonants. U, pu, upadma. And what is upadmaniyanam? Upadmaniya is the sound that is made, the sound that the visarga makes when it is followed by pa or pa. Yes, the if sound, the half if sound. Ka kah krishnah, that is jihva muliya. We'll come to that later, that that throat cleansing sound is jihva muliya, means at the root of the tongue, the sound that is produced from the root of the tongue. So when the visarga is followed by ka or kha, sound, and when the visarga is followed by pa or pa, if sound. And we teach, this is how we teach children. Ka kah krishnah, krishnah, pikaf krishnah, ko bhedah, pikakakayoh, pikakakayoh. Yeah. Vasantakale samprapte kakah kakah pikaf pikah. And what did this say? Very beautiful, The crow is black, correct? Krishna means black. And the nightingale, Pikaha, is also black. And so the person wonders, Ko bhedah, what is the difference between Pika and Kaka? The nightingale and the crow, what's the difference? Both of them are black birds. And the answer is, wait until springtime comes. And then what? Both of them open their mouths. One crows, the other warbles. And then the crow is just a crow, whereas the nightingale is unmistakably a nightingale. Very nice, no? So like this, so that if sound is called upadmaniya. Okay? Upu, upadmaniyanam, oshthav. And then we come to the group of nasals. Nyamaganananam, nasikacha. Hello, please repeat. Nyamangana, nyamangana, Nyama, look at my lips. Nyamangana. Na. That is how to say it. Nyamaganananam. Nyamaganananam. Nasikacha. Yeah. So meaning they are nasals also. Cha means also. What is this also? Why are they also? Meaning they belong to their own categories. Correct? Are you following me?
Yes.
Yes. They belong to their own categories. Like nga belongs to ka. Nya belongs to the chavarga. So they are already palatal, guttural, whatever they are. Plus they are also nasal. They have a special, box for them. Okay? And then if you have to map all the nasals, thankfully there's only 5, Yeah. And then if we are mapping out complex places of articulation, like the throat and the palate. Edau toho kanthatalu. Did I omit it? No, it's there, yeah. Edaitoho kanthatalu. Odautoho kanthaushtam. Kanthaushtam means throat and lips. Guttural and labial, O and Au. Oth and Outh. Only 2. And then Eth and Aith are what? Kanthatalu means throat and palate. A and I. Okay? So now this is very interesting. Because what is this Eth, Aith, Oth, Outh? What is this? Well, the ta is a special ith letter. What does it signify? It says, I am only referring to one letter which is A. Eighth. It's not eng, it's not h, it is only eighth. Yeah. And there is a particular sutra, Taparas Tatkalasya. So that particular sutra restricts the usage of the phenome or this pratyahara for this particular one letter only. So if you say at, you mean I only want to refer to a. This rule will only refer to places where just a is in operation. And here only a and I, not any other thing. Only o and au. Okay? So that is a thing to know. Vakarasya dantaushtham. Yeah, vakarasya means for the vakara, for the v sound, it's the teeth and the lips. That's why it's neither a V nor a W. Is it a VW? Certainly not. So, it's a sound in between a V and W, and every Indian who has never had Sanskrit in the life is influenced by that. And then when they first come to America, myself included, talked like this, we are going to buy vegetables, That's how, we talk, because we are into vakara, va. That is what it is, And then, what else? Jihva muli yasya jihva moolam. Jihva muli yasya jihva moolam. And that means what? That's only one sound. Akh, kakah, kakah. Kakah Krishna. Kakah Krishna pikah Krishna. That akh sound. Vasantakale samprapte kakah kakah pikah pikah. That akh sound is called jihva muliam. It's one of its kind. It comes in Arabic but not in Sanskrit. And then this is the only Arabic sound we share in common. One of the few sounds that are there. And then what? Finally, Nasika anuswarasya. The anuswara, the dot, is also comes under a nasalized form of the letter. So that also The Anuswara, where is the Anuswara, the dot pronounced? The dot on top of the line that you put. What is the place of articulation for that? Nasal. So this we chant every day before the classes so that we never forget this, so that the place of articulation and how many letters come in each is so firmly, we are so ensconced in that, and then it becomes easier for the rules and the applications to flow. Okay? So this is something which is very unique about what Panini found very unique about the language, and he happily started to map out this whole thing with the help of these sutras and other sutras. So only these palatal things will behave in a certain way. And then when words combine, called samhita, when words combine with other words, Ganga plus Augham. Augham means flood. Ganga means Ganga. And the river Ganga, Augham, the flood of the river Ganga, if we were to bring them together, Gangaugham. So the rules of the human voice acoustics, govern the meeting of two words, whether they are vowels or consonants or visargas, that the ha sounds. So this is so beautiful, and so Panini uses this as a building brick where he presents the sandhis based on, again, the whole place of articulation. And like I said, all this was already there before Panini. He just used these pratyaharas to make the combinations easy. It is mind-boggling. All he has to say is, what is that? He has to say, Jhalam, Jash, Jashi. We'll see that later. Yeah. In place of the Jhal letters, substitute with Jash letters when such and such a condition follows. Very fantastic. And if you talk to someone and say Jhalam, Jash, Jashi, they'll say, what? Are you in your right mind? You don't need to go see the doctor? But really it has a very deep meaning based on, again, the place of articulation. And so this is extremely exciting about Sanskrit, is that if you get this, you have proceeded, you have made a great stride in trying to put the language in your pocket. It's wonderful, And then the other nice thing about Sanskrit, the second unique feature about the language is that there is a wonderful, what is that called? Wonderful mechanism by which the words contain the prepositions. Nouns. Like every other language, Sanskrit has nouns, namani, nama, which are names of people, places or objects, same as, English. We also have adjectives and adverbs, but they are also some kind of glorified nouns where the operation of the rules are concerned. So we have nouns, and then what else is there in a language other than nouns? Verbs. We have verbs, vyakhyatani, vyakhyataha, dhatu, verbs. We have verbs, and these 2000 root sounds in raw form, from there 2200 to be precise, constitutes the bulk of the language. All the language comes out of those 2200 root sounds. And from there you can make nouns using certain operations, the same sound. And then you can make verbs, you can make adjectives, you can make everything. And in fact, if you really want to know the language very well, you don't have to learn all 2200 because many of them are synonyms. If you know 500, you are considered a pandit. How they decline everything. Meaning, a fifth of that. A fourth or a fifth, between a fourth and a fifth of how many sounds are there. So these are called dhatus, these root sounds. And out of this root sound, the entire language has emerged. And the root sounds also have it letters after them, which is very interesting. Yeah. Pach. Pach means what? Pach? Pach means? Cook. Yes, digest also. But here, cook. Murdha means cerebral. strike the tongue to the roof of the mouth, it's called that place is called murdha. Pach means to cook, correct? And then we know the verb as pach, pachati, pachataha, pachanti. And then we also know it as a noun, pakaha. You know, you can make a noun. The cha is substituted by ka, another cousin once removed. And so therefore this is very exciting, but you don't know that Pach is not its real name. Yeah, it has a full name. This is Pach is the pet name. It has a full name and it has a formal name. Like if Pach were to be admitted to school, you would have to say formally Dupachash. Yeah. Dupachash Pake. What is this do? Ith letter. Oh, but you just said ith letter only comes at the end. We have to slowly warm up, That's why I have to remove the sweater now. So, we have to slowly warm up. Some few ith letters come in the beginning as well. And what is their purpose? To tell that particular verb or that particular, it's not a verb at this point. This raw sound which is uncooked, even though it means to cook. This raw sound, we have to tell it how to behave. So then you put a do in the beginning. And what does the do? The do does a lot of things. The do says that all the verbs all the sounds in this raw root sounds of the 200 and 2200 odd sounds called dhatus, all the verbs that take do in the beginning are capable of taking a particular suffix called tram. Paktrimam, kritrimam, you can make. And what does that tram means? That tram means artificially done, a kind of a contrived sense. Dudan, dane, datrimam, paktrimam, kritrimam. So all these verbs, when you see the do, it flags. It's really like a computer thing. You can in your place where you store the photos, in the computer, there are mechanisms for flagging some of them, because these are the ones I will need. When I'm going to make this presentation, these others I will need later. And so you flag a certain thing based on how they are going to operate. So you see, even the root sounds, they are already there. You see the hand of Panini right there. And then, you say Dupachash, Pake. And then you have these 2200 sounds, verb wise, to make them into verbs for ease of operation are divided into 10 conjugations. 10 conjugations. And then the conjugation decides what rules are going to operate. And there also you have so many ith sounds, because what are the additions they take? And some of them, they don't take additions. You have to duplicate, and then you have to subtract everything. Like the third conjugation, it's a big pain. You don't know what to take out and what to add. And even what disappears, Panini says that there are 3 kinds of disappearances of certain suffixes. Suffixes which disappear are also governed by certain rules of disappearance. Some disappear but they haunt afterwards. Some disappear completely. Some do the work and then disappear. Pratyayasya luk, shlu, lupaha. Luk, shlu and lopa. These are the 3 forms of disappearance. This is fascinating. You don't know where to stop, where to end. You have to stop very soon, but you do know when to stop, if not where. And I will take a few minutes and bring it to a little, tie it up a little bit. So, you don't know where to begin, where to end. This is so fascinating, this whole thing. So, and then the same sounds make the verbs, make the nouns, make up the entire language depending upon what prefixes and suffixes you use. The entire language is just a huge bunch of prefixes and suffixes. What is a prefix?
To the beginning of
Yeah, the
prior
word, yeah.
word.
The pre in the prefix is a prefix. Yeah. The pre added to the word fix is a prefix. The suff added to the word suffix is a prefix actually. So the prefixes are called upasarga. Upasarga. And the suffixes are called pratyaya. Pratyaya and upasarga and pratyaya. And these upasargas are extremely sneaky because they change the entire word on top of its head. Yeah, they change the whole word. Char. What does char mean?
Yeah.
Char. Charati. To move. A plus char. Acharah. A plus char plus ganj. Acharah. Acharah means conduct. How you move. Pracharah. Pra plus char plus ganj, a masculine noun making suffix. Pra plus char, pracharah, to proclaim, to broadcast. Vi plus char, vicharah, to inquire. So, you see, so many things. Ahar, and there is a verse like this. Ahara, vihara, prahara. So from hr, you make it into hara, and then you have a gala time putting all these prefixes. Ahara, food. Vihara, roaming around happily. A place for roaming around also is called Vihara. A state of India, Bihar, that is Vihara. And then prahara. Do you want some prahara? Always say no. Prahara means beating. If anybody says, would you like prahara, just say no thank you, because it means beating. Ahara, vihara, prahara, and then what else? Upahara. Upahara means a present. Samhara, destruction. You see, all in the prefix. It's an amazing language. Amazing. And then there are two other unique features which I would like to talk about from the, putting a light on Panini using the unique features of the language. And so those two we will see next Thursday, correct? Thursday evening, yeah. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamidam Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om
Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So, are there any questions?
Can I ask?
Yes.
This chart, the original chart we got, things are organized, guttural, palatal, cerebral, dental, and labeled, but on this chart, he moves those around in the sequence of the letters, and so is that to make the sutra?
Yes, that is a sutra. Those are sutras. To make other sutras, he uses these movements, these deliberate permutations and combinations of the letters for it to be able to be applicable only to certain conditions and not to others. It is really mind-boggling.
But he has more reason than what I'm thinking.
What are you thinking?
Well, I know that they're not in the same order.
Yeah, they are not.
And they're not in the same order for the reasons that later on I'll find out.
Yes, you will find out. Yeah, even now I can tell you, it's not some big suspense. You see, like for example, when you say Hayavarat, I, un, ril, rik, a, ong, I, ouch, hayavarat. So you want to make at, from the pratyahara called at, from a to ta, without including la. That is the beauty of it, because the la comes later.
Could you do that again? Because I didn't.
Yeah.
The la is in the second sutra though.
How?
So-
Akuhavis. Where is there?
We're talking here. Is that what you were?
I, un,
Yeah.
ril, rik, lru is there. Lru, not la. Ah, that's a vowel, that's not a consonant.
The wrong side.
Yeah. Ril, rik, a, ong, I, ouch, hayavarat. So when you say at, you want to have all the vowels, and then what else? Semi vowels. And then ha, but not la. Semi vowels except la. And there is a reason for that. There is a sutra there. At. It's brilliant. And then the na occurring twice is also brilliant. Because when you say an, you catch the first. And then when you say the other one, you catch the last one. When you say lan, you catch the last one. Don't think about it right now. Yeah.
So why is the h excluded?
It's not excluded.
Well, no, I mean, so when you go all of the semi-vowels,
Yeah.
so for instance, I had hun, instead of yun. Or, yeah.
You can make a pratyahara, I suppose, called han. Let me see if that would be.
Well,
Yeah,
for instance, on this chart, they've got
you can make a pratyahara called han. It's not wrong, but the thing is there is no use for it.
And right here,
Yeah.
on this chart, the
I don't have that chart. What chart is that?
Uh,
Yeah, I don't know that.
Melanie
chart.
handed it out.
Yeah, I didn't look at that very clearly. So, if it is helpful, use it. What does it say? What are you referring to?
I'm looking at the second box at the very top.
Yeah, we haven't come here yet. Next class we are going to do this more. Second box from the top. H, diphthong.
The huh? You see, the box has got a notch cut out of it, so it starts out with a
Yeah.
instead of the huh.
No, it's not because of that. It's because yan, when you say yan, it's a way of including semi-vowels. You can
Why
say
isn't it
hut.
hun?
You can,
Oh,
but
okay.
the sutra does not use it.
Okay,
We are
got it.
only looking at
Thank you.
a few that the most common sutras use.
Okay.
Not that it is wrong. It is not wrong. And we'll come to this a little more next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the next one, which was num,
Yum. Yeah.
it goes palatal, guttural, then labial, then cerebral, then labial.
Yes.
Is that okay? I mean, that's different, and that's because that will later on have meaning for me?
No, because this way you can have ngam. You can have a pratyahara called ngam without using the ya and the ma. You can use, it's possible. Yeah.
I don't get that at all.
Well, it's hard to understand without
Okay.
having a map of the language.
All right, I'll get it again.
Yeah. Is it not possible to learn Sanskrit without learning Panini Sutras? Definitely it is possible. And I highly recommend it. Yeah. This is a lot of people were after me, please do some Panini starting July. So then I just kept putting it off, and then finally we are just having 7 lectures just to give a sense of what it entails. Please, go about your Sanskrit and, don't feel bad about not coming next time if this is not, speaking to you. No worries at all. Yeah. Feel free. Or if you attend, just relax and just listen if you decide to attend, okay? Yeah. This is just fascinating to appreciate this. You should have some kind of a broad, what's the word for it? Some understanding should be there. Yeah. Okay, please don't stop after class 7. We'll see. We'll make a timetable, okay? Yeah. So this is just to appreciate the language and see, when you look at a brilliant mind and you see the brilliance, I I really think some of it rubs off. I honestly think, because when you notice Panini's brilliance, because really there's only Maheshwara's mind. We saw that, and when you are able to be at that level of charcha means what, discussion. Then somehow our own mind is also elevated. Maybe not as high as his, but we learn to appreciate, and it's like it's a very sattvic, what's it called? Sattvic pursuit. You can listen to, even in music, you can listen to heavy metal music, correct? And after that come out irritable, disconnected, angry, frustrated. I'm not saying that's what happens, but if I listen to it, that's what will happen for sure. And or you can listen to classical music, any classical music. Whether it is Western or Eastern or whatever, you listen to classical music, there is something about it which just elevates, which makes you feel good about the world, about yourself, about everything, and then you feel it's a very good pursuit. So in that sense, Panini is a sattvic pursuit. And it's nice to see the brilliance. That's why we are doing it just a little, Paninian hors d'oeuvres, a sutra with a little bread, a panini with a little sutra. A piece of panini with a little sutra on top, a pratyahara for hors d'oeuvres, just to get a little taste of it. That's all, just for fun. Relax, it's not a big deal. Yeah. I know, without computer, how he thought, that's what we are doing. Yeah. And then if there are survivors after these 7 classes, we'll see what to do later. I'm not expecting any. Did we chant the closing prayer?
I have a question.
Sure.
In some of these initial sutras, the Ayun ones, the hard, soft, the hard aspirate and non-aspirate
Or mixed up.
put together.
Yes.
They're 2 different things. And then for the soft,
Yeah.
they're all together. Why is that?
Where are they together? Jhabhan, Ghadadhash, Jabagadadash, Kha, Pha, Cha, Tha, Tha, Chatatau.
Yeah.
Where are they?
So it's like they're almost all together except for Kapai, right?
Yeah.
But,
And there is a reason for that.
but then the other ones are separated in
In 3 groups.
3 groups.
Yeah, there's a reason for that. Just so that you can see the pratyaharas, it's just based on what the thing is, Like for example, if I say khai, all the hard consonants come in. But then if I want to include sibilants, I will say khar. You see? All the hard consonants plus sibilants. And if I say just shar, only sibilants. Plus if I want to say sibilants plus ha, I will say shal. So it's the grouping is, and if I say chai, it is only the first letter of each group. Kachatatapa. Otherwise he couldn't do this. If he had not done kapai like that, you couldn't have chai. It's brilliant.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And if you say char, it's chai plus sibilants. Chai means the first group and the sibilants.
And I would want to make that distinction because there are certain rules.
Sutras. Yeah, later on it will come. Yeah, it's a setup. And then if you want to say all vowels and, semi vowels and ha except la, you just say at.
Mm-hmm.
In the Kapai one, we were to dip with Jikwa Mulya.
Yeah, Jikwa Mulya. Yeah. So, that's and if you say the first 4 consonants of each varga and sibilants and ha, you say jal. Simple. We'll see a little more next time what all it means.
Okay. Thank you.